This video is an emergency install of a sump pump for a yard drain alongside of the house. And basically, when it rained, these people had just moved in and the water just floods right up into that wall right there, and that is their family room. So they called and they said, we need an emergency install, and you can see how muddy this is. Now, why builders create this kind of a problem, I don't know, but it's all from grading. The house beside it is higher. The homeowner actually tried to dig a gravity trench to allow that water to escape, but there's just no way. So for the do-it-yourself homeowners, remember that this is a project that you could do yourself, but boy is it going to be muddy, but this is how you do it. So the first thing that we did was we dug a hole to put our pump in, and you can see our flexible discharge line here off to the side, and it is pumping that water out and onto their driveway. We're using a Zoller M53 submersible pump, and it will easily keep up with the amount of rainfall that comes here. This is just showing you where this is discharging temporarily. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our sump pit, our sump liner, ready to install. We do this with a drill, and it's just a handheld drill and a 1/4 inch bit, and what we're doing is we're perforating the pit. I'm going to take a real quick stop here, and we're going to move the sump pump into a deeper spot because it's starting to rain really hard, and we want to make sure that that water does not flood up into the hole for the sump pit, which I've got a guy digging right there. So we want to make sure that that water doesn't flood up into that area. Not yet. Once we get this all installed, of course, that's where we want it to go. So again, basically the sump liner is a real important part of your system, and the sump liner is going to keep the sump pump securely in place. And by drilling all these holes, by perforating the sump pit, what we're doing is we're allowing all the water that's in the ground to come into the pit, as well as not allow that pit to float upward, because water can float things like boats, things like that. So make sure that you drill lots of holes, and you can see we're just going around the sump liner with a 1/4 inch bit and drilling right through it, and we go up about halfway to make sure that we get plenty of water entering that pit from all sides. Remember, this is an emergency installation, and you wouldn't want to do this unless you had to. These people have no choice. That water floods right up into their family room. So once we get all the holes drilled around the side, next we're going to have to create the inlet line from the catch basin that we're going to install where the sump pump is now sitting. We do that using a 4-inch hole saw with the same drill. This is just a portable drill, and we're going to drill right through the sump liner, and this makes a perfect 4-inch hole for us to put our corrugated pipe coming from the catch basin and the downspouts. Next, we're going to set our pump down into the pit. You can see we've already installed one downspout drain from the front into our pit, and you can see the hole there for the catch basin, which we'll dig out in just a second. There is a check valve installed onto the bottom of the pump, and we're using that flexible discharge pipe as our discharge, and we'll connect that to 1.5 PVC out front. Next, we're going to get the catch basin ready to go in. You can see we've got a man digging the trench from where the catch basin is going to go over to the sump pit. And now the water from this area will start to go into the sump liner, and the pump's still taking that out. It is connected. Set your catch basin down into your hole. Remember, this is muddy, and I apologize, my GoPro's on the top of my head and we're just letting it run. Now we're going to make some measurements for our pipe, and you can see how much water is just coming down through the yard. That little trench is actually from the homeowner, where he tried to help that water escape, but there was just no way. So you're going to need a T, because we're connecting the downspout in the back to this system as well. We've already set that catch basin, and now I'm just making a measurement from the catch basin to the T. set your tee down in place. Remember, it is muddy. Get your saw, make your measurement, and go ahead and cut the pipe. Corrugated pipe works really well for most of these installations, whether it's muddy or not. Pipe just snaps together, and it's quite strong once it's covered up with either gravel or dirt. Don't ever let that fool you that you need PVC. Sometimes PVC is applicable, but this install is going to be great and will work for years to come. Next, we're going to hook up the downspout drain in the back, and that's this trench that's going towards the back that's full of water. And we've already dug that out because we want all the water that we can from that roof and everywhere else in this yard to enter our system, because the sump pump, that's a Zoller M53, third of a horsepower. It will easily keep up with this much water. Again, I do apologize. You know, we're working in the rain, and normally I would edit a lot more of the video, but I've just got the GoPro on my head and we're just going to let it run. So I'm having one of the guys bring me some more pipe. We're going to go ahead and hook this up.
It's going to be almost enough.
Tell he's bringing that pipe through that mud pie right there. It is really sticky and you just sink down in it when you walk.
It's pretty close. Yeah, you know what?
Now we're going to hook this downspout drain up.
You can use that perforated right there a little bit.
This is a real simple thing once you've got your trench dug, and make sure that you're deep enough to get this in there. Even though it's pouring down rain, you want to try to make as best you can. We want that pipe to go straight down in the ground, so we push real hard, make that pipe turn right at the bottom. So when you dig this out, make sure you dig all the way over to the foundation of the house. Now I'm just throwing some soil on here just to hold it in place, and then I'll have Telly go ahead and start covering it, because soil is what really holds this pipe in place and makes it much stronger. So now we've got our downspout drain hooked up from the back downspout, and that brings even more water down the line even faster. The roof gathers a great deal of water. They say that, there's a calculation that measures the amount of water that comes off of a roof, and for a 1-inch rainfall, an average roof of 2,000 square feet gathers 1,160 gallons of water. That much water comes off of the neighbor's house as well, which is a little bit higher than this. So all that water is ending up right here in this low spot and had been flooding into their family room. So we lay our pipe out to make the measurement, pick up our tee, our hacksaw, which is covered in mud, and we go ahead and make the connection here. Again, corrugated pipe works really well. Measure, cut, and things will snap together. It doesn't matter how muddy you are or how dry you are. It will snap together no matter what. Next, we're ready to make the inlet line into the sump pit. Same thing, we're going to push that pipe into the tee. I'm going to lay it out over top of the sump liner so that I know that I've got enough pipe to enter the pit. Then I'll make a cut and we'll make a connection. The rain is really coming down again, and so again, I do apologize for the non-editing of this video and just being on my head with the GoPro, because we're turning our heads, moving around quite a bit here. So now what I just did was made a little slice into the corrugated pipe, and I'm going to fold it together. That just makes it easier to go into the hole. This will expand once it goes inside and fill that hole completely. So now we've got pretty much the system installed. There's still a little bit more pipe that we're going to add on the back side of that catch basin, which is perforated pipe. And we're going to put some gravel inside of that too. So I've got Paul digging out that area to allow us to put gravel perforated pipe in there, and we're ready to make that connection. Again, just kind of clean out your pit, because remember, it's been underwater, or your catch basin. Check your connection, because things are floating around in that water, and you want to make sure that things are still nice and tight. So we've snapped the pipe into the catch basin, push it down into the mud trench that you've created, and now we're just going to cut the end of it off at the end of the trench. We just added a small section of gravel there to help that water allow it getting into our system. Again, just cut it off right at the end of your trench. Push it on down into the mud, and basically we're ready to add some gravel here. It's real important when you add your gravel. This is just gravel by the bag. You can get this at Home Depot or Lowe's. But it's real important that you step on your pipe, especially when you've got water in there, because that pipe's trying to float up. And we want to make sure that that pipe stays down. That gravel will get all around that pipe. Don't worry about it. Go ahead and cover it with gravel, but be sure to step on the line as you do this. Bring more gravel, continue to cover the pipe, and you can see the water starting to disappear. But basically what it's doing is it's just going in through the gravel into the pump, and the pump's taking it out. Remember how the perforated pipe works. Gravel surrounds the pipe, there's holes in the pipe, water moves through the gravel and enters the pipe and is carried away. Right now it's being carried away to a sump pit. Sump pump lifts it up and pumps it out. Right now it's just going out onto the driveway still. Remember, when you add that gravel, stay on the pipe. Make sure you stand on that pipe. It's real important. And again, you can see that water is just disappearing slowly but surely, because we're basically pushing that water now into the perforated pipe through the catch basin and on into the pump. Remember, I'm standing on the line here to help make sure that this line stays down, and then we're going to cover this up. This is the inlet line that I'm standing on from the front downspout. The last part of this system is really simple. We've already run our inch and a half pipe out here across the sidewalk. Here we're installing a pop-up. I've made the measurement and I'm cutting through the PVC. Remember, a good hacksaw makes a big difference. Notice that the pump's still pumping. As I cut this pipe, this water is going to gush right out of here. And it's going to discharge from the pump. Just hold on to it, let it flow on out. It'll stop in a second. Connect your pop-up. A pop-up is an area that just allows the water to come up right at ground level. These work great with a sump pump, but not too well with gravity. The sump pump pushes that water down through the pipe and will push the top of that pop-up up as it discharges. Even though our trench is full of water and it looks like a big mess, not a big problem. We're going to cover that all up, and that water will discharge right here at the end of the pipe. So now we've got most everything covered up, and you can see a lot of the water has disappeared because it's basically gone now. This system is working great. Water comes all the way from the pump and the catch basin all the way out here to the sidewalk and is discharged. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it, even in the mud. Have a great day.